Good morning. I hereby call to order this 21st meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2025. We welcome everyone joining us here in the room today, as well as those joining us on the live stream. In honor of Veterans Day, which our nation observes on November 11th, I now welcome Chris Yoder, Director of the PUC Bureau of Audits, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Chris served in the U.S. Army for 11 years, serving for a year on the Korean DMZ, as well as on 9/11 and in the aftermath of those attacks. Today, he's wearing his Veterans of Foreign War uniform, where he serves as a trustee at the Kimberly and Fahnestock Voles Memorial Post 7530 in Lower Allen Township. Chris?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At today's meeting, which is open to the public, the Commission will act on various matters. Since adequate forums have been made available for public participation in cases before the Commission, there is no opportunity for the public to address the Commission at this public meeting. Public meeting motions, statements, and video will be available on the Commission's website later today. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of October 9th, 2025. I would like to recognize Commissioner Zerfas as the editor of the minutes. Commissioner Zerfas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reviewed the minutes of the October 9, 2025 public meeting and move that they be approved as submitted.
Further motion by Commissioner Zerfas. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Let us begin today on page 1 of the agenda, and matters presented by Director Yoder and the Bureau of Audits. I move that the Commission adopt an omnibus motion, both items on page 1, beginning with the Focused Management and Operations Audit of Can Do, Inc., and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 2. Ending the omnibus with the item at the bottom of page 2, the audit report on First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company, Penn Power Rate District, and release the reports to the public. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 3 of today's agenda, matters presented by Director Hafner in the Office of Special Assistance. I move that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the formal complaint of Michael Jennings versus the West Penn Power Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 3, it should be noted that the second matter, the application of First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company, is postponed to the public meeting of November 20th. Turning to page 4, I move that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the formal complaint of the Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus McLean Brothers Plumbing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a statement.
Commissioner Zerfas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please enter my statement into the record as if I read it in its entirety. I'm not going to read it. But in sum, in this matter with McLean Brothers Plumbing, there was an incident with a backhoe used during excavation that caused some damage to a gas service line. There was, again, damage to the gas line. Some protocols were not properly followed. But given the seriousness of incidents that include natural gas lines, I think that the maximum penalty is fully justified here, and I support that. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfas. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 4, I move that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion and order in the application of Rex Benny Transportation and Logistics, LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 5 of today's agenda, matters presented by Director Diskin and the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. I move that the Commission adopt the proposed tentative order regarding the interconnection and tariffs of large load customers. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Commissioner Coleman?
Thank you, Chairman. I do have a statement I'd ask to be entered into the record as I read it in its entirety. This morning, we're taking a look at a large load model tariff, and I want to start with commending the staff at our Technical Utility Service and our Law Bureau. This is a Herculean effort on a relatively short timeline to put together a model tariff and get it before us here this morning. These are typically, in my history at this commission, these are what I'd call a no-brainer. These are the layups. These are the things where we agree across the bench here and are able to move forward, and unfortunately, that's not going to be the case here this morning. The other unfortunate part this morning is that it seems that a majority of our time probably should have been consumed talking about reliability and affordability and what we're doing in that regard. And instead, we seem to be consuming a considerable amount of time on contributions from large load customers and logistically how we do that and where those funds would go. And I just find that a bit unfortunate. I think that those are matters that are best left to the legislature, and in fact, there are several bills, as many of us know, that are entertaining that very matter. The earlier draft, and I just want to again commend staff here, that the earlier draft that I saw that came from staff, I most likely would have been a yes vote. And unfortunately, it is this new addition that has been placed into the model tariff here dealing with contributions that I really find objectionable. Just want to set the record straight that I don't have an objection to large load customers contributing. I'm pretty much agnostic to that. I think it's important that we have robust customer service programs, but this is a piece, in my opinion, that is well beyond the statutory authority of this commission. And once those types of elements make it into a tariff, they become the force of law. And I think that those implications are a bit unfortunate this morning. So on balance, I think that again, the staff has done a fine job in the proposed model tariff that addresses various issues raised in the motion adopted our commission public meeting back in March of 2025. The commission received extensive comments on the issues identified in the motion in response to the testimony received. The proposed recommendations acknowledge areas of both consensus and significant disagreement. The common theme was that the commission to provide flexibility and to avoid prescriptive determinations on matters related to eligibility for and obligations of electric distribution companies and those customers served by the tariff. Most stakeholders emphasized the same points in their testimony before the House Energy Committee on October 22nd, 2025 on House Bill 1834. However, in some areas it appears that the proposed language is overly prescriptive and in many may be counterproductive to the provisions of adequate, reasonable, and efficient service to prospective customers. Instead of trying to achieve a resolution where no consensus exists, it may be appropriate to allow the EDCs to submit and support its own proposals in tariff filings. I'm also concerned with some of the elements that are beyond the authority to implement and enforce, and I'll identify those, and I just spoke about some of those just briefly. The proposed tariff tentative order properly acknowledges in some places that the proposed tariff is intended to serve as guidelines. Nevertheless, the tentative order carves out a, quote, requirement, end quote, that large customers may make significant contributions to hardship funds on an annual basis as a condition for receiving and maintaining public utility service. While not a defined term under the model tariff, hardship funds are understood to be programs administered by or under the supervision of the utility to provide financial assistance to customers who require bill payment assistance. They are separate and apart from customer assistance programs funded by customers as required by the Public Utility Code. Many of the hardship funds are Section 501c3 organizations established for charitable purposes. Hardship funds receive voluntary contributions from various people, including but not limited to other retail electric customers and the shareholders of the utilities. While the Public Utility Code includes provisions requiring for funding for customer assistance programs, I am not satisfied that the Commission has the legal authority to require contributions to hardship funds as a condition of obtaining and maintaining public utility service. Also, I note that the commissioners, us collectively, are prohibited from directly soliciting funds for charitable contributions and purposes. For individual commissioners cannot solicit funds for such causes, it seems unlikely that we can jointly mandate annual lump sum payments to such entities, no matter how worthy, as a condition for receiving, maintaining public utility service. And while the Commission has been, in general, satisfied with the work of hardship funds, I'm concerned that establishing this precedent may cause some to think that we can require similar contributions to other unregulated organizations. I am aware that there are multiple pending bills in the General Assembly on the topic of large load customers. The enactment of enabling legislation may be an appropriate way to address some of these issues identified at the docket, including issues relating to funding of customer assistance programs and hardship funds. Finally, I take note that the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission recently enacted an open rulemaking docket for the interconnection of large load customers. FERC is expected to promulgate a final rule by April of 2026. There is significant concern on the part of the state commissions that such a rulemaking preempts state regulation on the issues reviewed at this docket. I am aware NARUC, our national association, will be considering a draft resolution on the rulemaking at its next annual meeting. It would be unfortunate if overreaching by states contributed to the loss of jurisdiction over these very important issues. I welcome comments on whether the Commission should stay the final action at this docket until FERC concludes its proceeding. In conclusion, while I do not support all of the provisions of the tentative order or proposed tariff, I look forward to reviewing the comments filed in response to today's tentative order and will continue to monitor pending legislation or any other matter coming before this Commission that it pertains to the underlying issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any further comments?
Chairman, I do have a statement.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter my statement into the record as though read in its entirety. I will not read the entire thing. First, though, I want to take issue with a couple of things that Commissioner Coleman just raised. So the underlying purpose of this docket is to get at reliability and affordability. I dare say that all 5 of the commissioners up here, that has been our main goal. The one thing that we did spend a lot of time talking about is contributions to universal service programs, and everyone has a different opinion about how that should be done. But the rest of it was fairly easy, the part about reliability and affordability. And in the weeks that we've been discussing this, I actually have not heard any concrete disagreement about reliability and affordability and getting that part right. This is the first I'm hearing of that. And in fact, this is the first that I am seeing your statement, Commissioner Coleman, and I just want to say, my door is always open. If you want to talk about those things, come and talk to me. And we can probably, we're not always going to agree, but I bet we can agree on a couple of things. And one of the things I think we might have agreed on is you've got some concerns about the hardship fund. I've got some concerns about the hardship fund. I might approach things differently, but if we don't talk, we'll never know. So, secondly, in a perfect world, yes, we would wait for the legislature to move on what they're moving on. With this particular topic, with large loads, with data centers, this industry is moving at a speed the likes of which we have never seen. The only thing I can think of that's comparable is maybe when the Uber, Lyft transportation network companies came into the state and they decided to just move gangbusters, full speed ahead. They were going to break things and they were not waiting for the legislature or this commission to move. This is going that quickly, and this commission, with the jurisdiction that we do have, we owe it to the customers and to the grid as a whole to work with the jurisdiction that we do have. And the rest will come about. If we overstep, the legislature will let us know, and we will proceed accordingly. But right now, it's moving really fast, and I fear for the reliability of the grid, and I fear for the economic impact that adding this much load in a very quick amount of time is going to have on ratepayers. So it is time for us to move. The focus of my statement is actually, yes, about the universal service contributions. So we have an opportunity here to evaluate appropriate contributions to the construction of the grid and services that utilities provide to all customers. The tariff as drafted addresses many important components of these contributions. However, I believe that targeting of proposed funding for universal service programs could be improved. Now's the right time for us to follow our policy statement on customer assistance programs and ensure that appropriate funding comes not just from residential customers, but from all those who societally benefit from a fully subscribed electric system. So, according to the latest data from the US Census Bureau, nearly a quarter of all Pennsylvanians have been unable to pay an energy bill in full in the last year, in the last 12 months. And as I've mentioned previously, PJM's Market Monitor attributed over $7 billion of increased cost in PJM's latest capacity market auction to the entry of the new large loads that we're talking about. It's uncontroverted that large load additions are roiling energy market pricing. This is about cost causation and who pays when prices go up. For that reason, among many others, the Commission is proposing to direct funding from interconnected large load customers to the utilities' hardship funds. I request comments on whether the hardship funds are the appropriate target of universal service funding paid by interconnected large loads. While I believe that enhancing hardship funding is beneficial, I also believe that directing the money to offset the universal service charge currently paid for solely by the residential class on a per kilowatt basis is a much more beneficial solution. the commission should both increase funding for low-income Pennsylvanians while reducing the burdens on other residential ratepayers to support low-income programs. And it bears repeating that these increased costs and the increased costs of the universal service programs can be directly attributed to the addition of these large loads in the forecast. So it's about cost causation in my view. So I would appreciate comments on these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further comments?
Mr. Chairman, I have a statement.
Commissioner Zerfus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please honor my statement as if I read it in its entirety. I will not read it. But I will echo some of Vice Chair Barrow's comments in that my statement also is in relation to allocation of costs as it relates to universal service programs. I'll let you read the statement. I don't have to go into it, but I am looking forward to the comments on how we can consider a more comprehensive approach or what the comprehensive approach is there. But just like taking a step back kind of on the issue and even just looking at the forest instead of the trees, I am looking forward to the comments in all of the pieces, right? Because again, this is like, it's a model tariff. Folks have input into the final outcome. You know, I've heard the words like model, example, suggestion, guidelines. That's what all these things are. I see this model tariff, whatever the final form is, as a it's not written in stone. It's like this living document. So at any point, it can be revised because we all know that the conversation, the technology, the industry is moving at lightning speed, as the Vice Chair, said earlier. We're going to have to look at this thing in real time, maybe make changes. We can do that. It's not written in stone. It's not law, right? But it's a step forward. Like, folks have asked us to lead on this issue, and that's what we're doing here today. It's what we've been asked to do, and quite frankly, it's what our duty is. So I don't want to make it super complicated. I think we get lost in the nuances and the minutia and the details, which are certainly important. But like in that moment of like taking that step back, I don't want to make it overly complicated. Like, it's a living document, it's a model. We're asking for input, looking forward to the comments, and working toward the final product. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfus. Any further comments? I do have a statement in this as well, and I'm just going to submit my statement for the record. It is a very positive kumbaya statement that I'm not sure is appropriate to read right now. I do agree with Commissioner Coleman. Today is unfortunate. This is absolutely unfortunate, Commissioner, because this is easy. I think that there are a lot of things we can come to an agreement on, but as Vice Chair Barrow pointed out, I got the 4-page statement 45 minutes ago, so it's hard to come to agreement when you don't know until you're walking into a meeting. As Commissioner Zerfus pointed out, this is a model tariff. This is not required. Therefore, to think we need legislative authorization for a suggestion is improper. And in fact, that's one of the key distinctions of the legislation. The legislation would require the tariff, which is why you would need legislation. We don't have the power to do that. So to say that a suggestion is out of legislative bounds, I don't agree with. Load forecasts. We saw what happened in Ohio with load forecasts. Load forecasts are driving up our capacity prices. We've seen huge increases in the capacity market, and that's because we don't have our arms around load forecasts, and that's one of the things. There's a bill over there that does that puts that power in our hands. We have an RFP out that looks at a load forecast here. So the commission has been moving in this direction on a number of fronts. When we talk about the hardship funds, I do want to point out that the increases in the capacity market, that's the concept. I mean, we've had a 900% increase in one auction. So the whole concept is lower income individuals are going to have a harder time making ends meet, even more so than today, once we have data centers come in and are absorbing that load. So, again, I commend staff because actually the hardship fund contribution was in the staff recommendation. So I commend staff for putting that in. I also commend staff for great work on this document. There was a lot of comments filed. We had a lot of, opportunity to look at other jurisdictions and look at best practices in other jurisdictions. And I think this document that's in front of us, as a tentative order, for comments, as Commissioner Zerf has pointed out, and please, we want to know what your thoughts are on this. This is not the final order. But we think we have a good start to this document here, and I think it could get better. There's no question about it. Commissioner Coleman, I hope to work with you to get this better. I hope to see a yes vote, if we get to a final order here. And I want to work with you on that. But, this is the start of the process here. It's opening up a comment period. I encourage everyone to comment. I think this is a big day for us here because this is us taking a huge issue that we don't even have direct regulatory oversight over, in terms of generation in the wholesale markets, and trying to get our arms around it for our ratepayers. So again, I think this is a big day for Commission. Commend staff, commend Pat Shaughnessy from my staff who worked on this, and that's all I have. But I submit my statement for the record. Any further comments?
Chairman, just in case I did not enter my statement into the record, I'd like to do so at this time.
Thank you. Any further comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no.
No?
The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 3-2, noting the dissents of Commissioners Coleman and Yonoran. Continuing on today's agenda, on page 5, I move that the Commission adopt an omnibus motion, beginning with the remaining item on page 5, the proposed order regarding the application of Pennsylvania American Water Company, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 6, ending the omnibus with the proposed order regarding the tariff supplement filed by the City of Lancaster Bureau of Water. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 7 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt a proposed order regarding the tariff supplement filed by Pennsylvania American Water Company. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Commissioner
statement.
Zerfus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please enter my statement into the record as if I read it in its entirety. I won't. But the long and short of it is that I wanted to give kudos to Pennsylvania American Water for aggressively pursuing litigation as it relates to, against manufacturers of PFAS. Some litigation was won. There are some monetary benefits coming back to the company. The company does not have to send those dollars back to the consumers, but that's exactly what they're doing to help consumers, offset those costs that they've been paying to help ameliorate the impacts of PFAS. So P American Water will be directing these dollars directly back to their consumers, and I want to say thank you for that, and I will be voting in favor of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfus. Any further comments?
Chairman, I do have a statement.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter this statement into the record as though read in its entirety. So Pennsylvania American went out and litigated and collected $18 million through a PFAS settlement. And I want to commend the company for utilizing all available tools, including our court systems, to pursue PFAS manufacturers that are polluting our water supplies and increasing the cost of providing safe water service to customers. The PFAS credit rider will assist customers by refunding PFAS treatment costs. Just from this particular rider, customers should see about a $26 refund on their accounts. In these times, every penny counts, and I encourage all water utilities to continue to aggressively pursue other avenues that may potentially reduce the impact of PFAS treatment on customers. So, and now the other part I want to say, which is, which drives my children crazy, like when they bring home a A, and I say, but it could have been an A+. So as part of its quest to reduce costs for customers, I do encourage Pennsylvania American to also consider applying future settlement disbursements to discount the cost of PFAS treatment plants. This is important because I believe this would be a more efficient spend of the proceeds in that they would be minimizing the cost of the plant up front, and by doing so, minimize the return on equity that the customers must pay over time through rates, and that adds up. So that said, good work, Pennsylvania American. Let's go for the A+ next time.
Tough. You are tough. Any further comments? I do have a statement in this matter. I asked my statement be entered into the record as though I read it in its entirety. I commend Pennsylvania American Water for its actions against PFAS polluters, along with this instant filing. The tariff supplement would result in each company's water customers receiving an initial one-time $26 credit on their bill. As I've said before, the cost of PFAS remediation must not all fall on the back of ratepayers. Water utilities and the Commission must pursue all avenues of financial support to facilitate the timely and economic filtration of these harmful chemicals. This means litigation, as is the case here, along with taxpayer-backed support from the Commonwealth and Congress through grants, low-interest loans, and other innovative means to help solve this issue in a fair and equitable manner. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 7, I move that the Commission adopt the proposed order regarding the application of Reduced Rate Long Distance LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 8, and matters presented by Chief A.L.J. Rainey and the Office of Administrative Law Judge. I move that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of A.L.J. Coogan in the petition for approval of the City of Lock Haven Water Department's lead service line replacement program. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 8 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the initial decision of A.L.J. Gannon in the formal complaint of the Bureau of Investigation Enforcement versus M.K. Hauling LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a motion.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter my motion into the record as though read in its entirety. I will not. So, having found that MK Hauling violated the PA one-call law, it is appropriate to assess an administrative penalty in this matter. In reviewing Section 182.10 B2, I find that a $250 per violation administrative penalty totaling $1,000 and a requirement to complete a damage prevention educational program for excavators is warranted. The record reflects that this appears to be MK Hauling's first offense, that only one homeowner was affected, that the amount of damage was minimal, and that service was interrupted for less than 1 hour. However, failing to utilize the one-call system and submit a locate request, which is the first line of defense against line strikes, and failing to call 911 after the line was struck are serious violations. And also of note, the record doesn't indicate a willingness by MK Hauling to modify internal procedures, or practices. And so that also supports the penalty. Therefore, I move that the initial decision of ALJ Gannon issued September 2nd, 2025 is reversed, consistent with this motion. 2, the formal complaint filed by I&E against MK Hauling is sustained in part and denied in part, consistent with this motion. 3, MK Hauling shall, within 30 days of a final order, attend online compliance training through the Pennsylvania One Call system for excavators, if not already completed, and provide proof of completion to the Secretary's Bureau for inclusion in this docket. 4, MK Hauling shall, within 30 days, pay an administrative penalty of $1,000. 5, a copy of the final order shall be served upon the financial and assessment chief in our Bureau of Administration. 6, if MK Hauling fails to make the payment as required, it is further ordered that the Bureau of Administrative Services shall refer this matter to the Pennsylvania Office of Attorney General for collection. And lastly, that the Office of Special Assistants draft an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. We've heard the motion by Vice Chair Barrow. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion?
Chairman, I do have a statement.
Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you. And I ask that my statement be entered in the record as I read it in its entirety. As the Vice Chairman has indicated, this is the second of 2 cases we have on the agenda this morning that involves the one-call law and an excavator hitting a natural gas line, and can't underscore the importance of excavators to make sure that they're following the one-call law. This could have been a catastrophic event, and fortunately it was not. Here I think we have 3 parties involved in this case, and a limited liability corporation that is wholly owned by one of the 3 parties, and that LLC is MK Hauling. MK Hauling has no employees. MK Hauling owns no equipment. MK Hauling is a shell, an LLC shell. There are no assets, but it is owned wholly by Mr. Koch, one of the 3 parties here. The challenge, I think, is sometimes we get mired down in details and lose track of the actual facts of what's happened here. In this case, it's an excavator. The excavator who hit a line, a natural gas line, and caused a problem. And the concern I have this morning is that finding the wrong party in a matter like this sets a terrible precedent. There is no connection in this case in the record evidence to MK Hauling. This is an unfortunate situation where a gentleman owns a piece of equipment, he loans it to a homeowner, and has someone that he knows that will operate the equipment for the homeowner. There is no contractual obligation with MK Hauling. The homeowner did not contract with the company. They did not pay the company directly. And the record evidence is a bit murky. And so I appreciate the attempt this morning here to try to find someone to hold accountable. And unfortunately, that responsibility lied one step before it got here today with the administrative law judge and our Bureau of Investigation Enforcement prosecuting and making a prima facie case. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So I agree that somebody needs to be held accountable here, and unfortunately, MK Hauling, I don't believe, is the right party. Again, MK Hauling has nothing to do with this particular matter. These are 3 individuals that, whatever their relationship is among them, and again, the record evidence is a little bit unclear as to what the relationships are among all of them. But it is clear that MK Hauling does not employ the person who actually struck the line. MK Hauling does not own the equipment that was used in this case. And so unfortunately, I think we've got the wrong party here. Since I&E did not establish the prima facie case that MK Hauling was the excavator for this project, I can't conclude that MK Hauling violated the PA one-call law. And I do not support the assessment of an administrative penalty and the direction to complete education. Rather, the formal complaint should have been dismissed. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any further comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the motion is approved by a vote of 3-2, noting the dissents of Commissioners Coleman and Yenora. On the matter as amended by the motion, is there any objection to taking previous roll call? Hearing none, the matter is approved as amended by the motion by a vote of 3-2, noting the dissents of Commissioners Coleman and Yenora. That concludes all agenda items to be considered today. But before we close today's meeting, we pause to honor our veterans, those who have served in our nation's armed forces, and to recognize their sacrifices and dedication to our country. Veterans Day is more than just a date on the calendar. It's a somber promise to the men and women who serve, many of whom are here with us today, proudly wearing a pin, medal, or piece of their uniform. Quiet symbols of experiences that shaped their lives and strengthened our nation. Whether you were on the front lines or part of the support personnel who keep our military running smoothly, your contributions matter. Service comes in many forms, and it's clear that our veterans continue to serve through their work in public utilities and across our state and national workforce. Today, we again wish to recognize the many men and women of our Public Utility Commission who have served or are serving in our armed forces. You have brought your leadership, dedication, and discipline back to our communities and back to the mission of the PUC. The same sense of mission that guided your service to our country now guides your work here, ensuring that every home has light, heat, and water. I also wish to recognize one of my fellow commissioners as a veteran of the Pennsylvania Army National Guard, Commissioner Ralph Yenora. Thank you for your service. At this time, I invite all veterans in the hearing room with us to please stand to be recognized. Again, we thank you for stepping forward and for placing service above self. As we leave here today, let's carry with us a renewed commitment to support our veterans, whether that means volunteering at a local VA hospital or veteran shelter, attending a local parade or ceremony, or simply taking the time to listen to their stories. May we never take their service for granted, and may we honor it, not only with words, but through the kind, everyday integrity and commitment that defines true public service. If there are no other business to come before the commission, is there any objection to adjourning today's meeting? Hearing none, we are adjourned.